And thanks so much for taking the time to chat. Why don't you just give us a little bit of insight into your experience and tell us what was the most stressful part of the college admissions process?
So in the college admissions process, I think first semester of senior year was the most stressful time because I had to balance studying and taking standardized tests with getting grades that will be sent to colleges with a rigorous course load that they will see. Plus, that's the time where you create your applications and send your applications. So that's writing a bunch of supplemental essays, polishing your Common App essay, just getting everything done and packed in one semester. It was a lot, but it's rewarding.
Yeah. Can you describe the feeling you had when you were starting the process, like maybe beginning of junior year?
I think beginning of junior year, I was just a little bit maybe lost or unsure about what it would look like. And as you keep going through it, it gets a little bit more overwhelming. But I think you get a little bit more sure of yourself as you go through the process. In the beginning, you just don't really know what to expect, and it just feels like there's so much being thrown at you at once. But it definitely gets better.
Yeah. Can you tell us a little bit about your decision to take, you took the ACT. Can you tell us about your decision to take the ACT versus the SAT?
Yeah, so the spring of my junior year, I took the SAT and the ACT. But what I did is I went into both of them not having studied or prepared. Just I went in cold to both tests. And the ACT I did better on, and I also felt like the testing environment and the test itself was one that suited me better. Just the timing and the sections I felt better suited me as a student.
Yeah, now if I remember, you tend to gravitate towards science. Do you think the fact that the ACT had a science section, was that a pro for you? Did you enjoy that section?
Yeah, I was actually surprised because science isn't my strongest subject in school, but I think the thing with the ACT is it's more reading and analysis, while SAT is more math. And math's the section I struggle more on. So I think it was more the ACT had less math and more reading, while the SAT had a lot more math.
Yeah. So thinking back to students who are starting this journey, what's your advice for students as they are preparing for the SAT and ACT?
I would say I wouldn't suggest what I did. I think I started kind of late into the process. I didn't start really getting into tutoring until about halfway through the summer of before my senior year. So what I would say would be start a little bit earlier, maybe during your junior year, because since I did it over the summer and so close to the ACT, I worked every day and met with a tutor every week. So I would say start during your junior year so you can spread out your studying more. And then if needed, get more intensive closer to a test, but just being able to spread out your studying more.
Yeah. Now, you performed pretty well on test day, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Were you pretty satisfied with the outcome?
Yeah, I was really surprised, but I was also really proud of myself. It was really rewarding.
Yeah, you scored in the 99th percentile, right?
Yeah.
99.9th percentile even.
Yeah.
So if you can think back to how you felt on test day, why do you think you prepared so well on the actual day of the test? Because preparing for the test and actually performing well on test day are two distinct things. So yeah, just tell us a little bit about your test day experience and how you prepared for the actual test day.
Right. So I think night before the test, I did a little bit of studying, but I really tried not to stress myself out too much about it. I think what helped me was knowing that I had another test coming up that I was registered for, something to fall back on if I didn't do well. So I think I didn't have as much stress going into it, but I got a lot of good sleep, woke up the next morning, ate well, got ready, got there, just sat and prepared myself. And I think just going through the test without stressing myself out too much about it, I think helps me focus on it a bit more. just being in that environment and taking the test without worrying about every single question, whether if I got this one wrong, how would this impact my score. So not everyone can have a test to fall back on, but just having that mindset, just not being stressed out about it too much really helps me.
Yeah. Now, did you took a lot of practice ACTs? How many do you think you took throughout the course of your program, like individual sections or tests?
I think I took an individual section. I think I took like 1 or 2 every week for about like 2 or 3 months. But I think I took maybe 3 full tests, or something along those lines.
Yeah. Now, for the practice tests and your official tests, did you have a favorite way to decompress after you were done with those full-length tests?
I think just from sitting in one spot and looking at one paper, I would just walk outside afterwards, get some fresh air, breathe it in, look at something other than words. Just walk outside because I did a lot of it during the summer. During the school year, I'd go take a nap, turn my brain off. That was definitely what helped me.
Yeah, that's great advice. I'm curious, how involved were your parents throughout the whole college admissions process?
My parents really weren't super involved. I'm pretty independent. They helped me set up my tutoring, and they were obviously knew what colleges I was applying to and helped me with things like financial aid and things I needed their help with. But most of it, like test preparation, essays, really the bulk of choosing my schools and applying to them. I did mostly myself and with the college counseling at my school.
Yeah. Now, going back to the actual test day experience, when you're getting in the 99.9th percentile, that usually means a perfect score, but you had gotten close in a couple practice tests. What do you think it takes to get that extra mile? So like on the ACT, if a lot of students have a 34 and they want a 36, what does it take to get that extra mile?
Right, so that was me. I had that 34 composite and I really wanted that 36. And I think going into that test, I had really focused my studying on the sections I needed to improve to get to a 36 composite. So during the test, I really focused in on those sections. I had that muscle memory from all the practice tests for all the patterns to recognize. And I think just knowing that I'd done the preparation while also focusing in and seeing what I could recognize in all the problems. And then for the sections I already did well on, just, again, I had that muscle memory from doing well on them in the past and in practice tests. So all that combined just brought it out to be so well that one test.
That's great. Sort of zooming back out, what do you think was the best advice you got from someone during the college admissions process?
I think a lot of people hear it a lot, but I think as you're getting acceptances and denials and all of that during the process, just hearing everything happens for a reason. Like when you sit and you think about it, it really does, like you don't get into one school, this is probably why. You don't do well on this ACT test, you're gonna go and do really well on the next one. So there really is a pattern to everything and there really is a reason to everything.
Yeah, that's great to put it in perspective. Thinking about specifically on test prep, what do you think Clayborne tutors did that you couldn't have done on your own, or what do you think the advantage of working with a tutor was that over just doing it on your own?
Right, so doing practice tests on your own is something anyone can do, and it's something I could have definitely done. But I think taking those tests versus taking those tests and improving with those tests is something Clayborne did differently, because being able to meet with a tutor allows you to have somebody else's perspective on what you need to improve on and what you can work on, especially since, Clayborne's tutors are the best in their profession. They've scored really highly on all the tests, so they know the patterns and they know what you need to do to improve. So I think that really helps me, just being able to have a personalized look at what I need to improve on, rather than, all these tests that show you the answers right away. Just having someone work me through and help me personalize my learning experience helps me.
Well, we were happy to be part of your journey. It's very exciting as a tutor to see the happiness you get when you've reached the goal and sometimes even exceeded the goal that you set for yourself. Well, for students who are going into the process right now, maybe end of their junior year or maybe even into their sophomore year, what's a piece of advice you have for them, maybe specifically about SAT and ACT, and then even more generally about the college admissions process in general?
Right. So with SAT, ACT, I would say start earlier, and stay consistent. I think one thing that really helped me, even though I started later, was staying consistent with it. Consistently practicing, finding time to meet with tutors, taking the practice tests. I think that consistency creates like a muscle memory, creating those patterns, recognizing those patterns, and it also helps you improve. Even if it's little by little, you still improve as you keep working over time. So I would say, stay consistent. Start early too, so you're not super crammed, but mostly stay consistent. And just in the whole process, I would say just stay positive. Because I think that's really the hardest thing, especially since there's a lot of disappointments. Even with test prep, it gets hard because it's a lot of work. And if you start not doing as well in test prep and practice tests, you might get discouraged, but just staying positive and not getting discouraged in yourself.
I think that's great advice for anyone at any stage of life. That's excellent advice, and makes me realize how far ahead of your age you actually are. All right. Well, just thinking about what does life after graduation look like for you?
For college?
Well, just thinking about, like, do you have anything you're going to do before you go to college? What are your plans in college?
So after I graduate, I think I'm going to take this summer for myself. Most summers in high school I've been test prep, leadership programs, just getting ready for college. So it'll be nice to have a summer for myself and to spend time with friends and family before I go to college. In college, my current plan is majoring in something along the lines of government, political science, pre-law. So seeing where that takes me. And then I love to get some kind of internships in college, but really just freshman year, get used to everything, soak everything in, have the experience.
Oh, that is so exciting. The sky is the limit for you. Great. Well, any other pieces of advice or anything you think we didn't cover?
No, I think we got everything.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much for taking the time to chat, and just really appreciate you sharing your experience. It's a great chance for me to hear it, and to affirm others.